Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Galen Snyder Show. I'm Vince Reed, and along with our engineer, Mike Samsel, ready to bring you another show here brought to you by ARIA Health, your friends here in Lower Bucks County. Well, as you know, Pennsbury played their second game of the season, and boy, what a difference. It went from game 1 to game 2. Pennsbury played a good half against the Easton Red Rovers the first game of the year, but certainly the second game, and that's where a lot of coaches feel that they make the biggest improvement from game 1 to game 2. And I will say that, Coach, that your team did just that. They made a real big move on a jump from that first to second game.
Yeah, and we usually do. I thought defensively we took a big step forward. Our pass defense was pretty sound, and our run defense got a lot better than it did. Obviously we played the week before, and offensively, we kept going well. I thought we put together a real good first half against Easton, and then seemed to run out of steam. But this time we were able to put 4 good quarters together offensively as well.
Let's talk a little bit about that defense, because when the first quarter was rolling along in that one, the concern, I think, with us was the fact that as we're doing the game was the fact that they were getting outside so often, and with their speed, of course, that Frankfurt has, we were thinking, oh, this could be a long day because they're going to start going just to the outside and sprinting downfield and doing a job. I have to feel that you, along with Dan McShane, made some changes and told the kids some things at the end of the first quarter, because you really tightened up after that. They didn't really get to the outside like they were getting.
Yeah, we made a couple adjustments. One of the things is we started. We put Victor Delgado in there.
He was a big difference.
Yeah, Vic played that position for us all of last year, and he plays it extremely well.
Yeah.
He's uncanny in the way he can set the edge and keep the opponent from getting outside. So that was one of the moves. And we've been moving. We've been shuffling some personnel, and Vic's been playing some free safety for us because we like the fact we can play in the middle of the field, which gives him an opportunity to impact the game on both sides. But in a situation like what was happening, where you're a team with some speed that's beating you up to the wide side of the field and everything, it became time to return Vic to his old spot.
And when you look at that defense, and I think really that was the big change from the first week to the second week, was the fact that the defense after that first quarter, the kids seemed to settle down. They looked more, when you looked at the rest of the ball game, they looked more like they had some experience compared to that first ball game. Because really, I think with the changes you made for the second quarter, it got everybody into the mix, where the defense just seemed to play up to the level of everybody that was really, you were depending on in there.
Yeah, and a lot of it is also experience. We got a ton of, we only have 2 starters back.
Yeah.
That are out there. It's Victor and Brendan Campbell. Brendan's done a real nice job for us.
Yeah, he has.
Not only from the physical standpoint, but he got an interception, and both weeks he made, was in on a lot of tackles, but also just the calming effect and getting people aligned and everything. So those 2 are extremely valuable right now as our defense grows. And, it's more mature. And but I think a lot of other guys are stepping up and will continue to improve.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought that, from seeing him the first game and seeing him in the game of the year against Frankfurt, the second game of the year, that some of the guys seemed to, I guess one of the things you could say, kind of get it as far as what they had to do on the field defensively, compared to maybe that first week when it seemed like maybe some of them, because they were all new, were kind of running around and weren't quite sure of themselves. They played more like they were really sure of themselves this time.
Or they're getting there. We still got room to improve.
Oh yeah, but they were much better this time.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. They definitely, if you look at where we are now versus, let's say, that first quarter in Easton, which was a rough first quarter. But we'll see. Now we got to turn it around and show it in this third game. You got a big, strong opponent, lots of size along the offensive line and in the backfield. And so they'll be definitely a threat to come and run the ball at us.
And of course, the Galen Snyder Show being brought to you by ARIA Health, your friends here in Lower Bucks County. If you need assistance like that, the place to go is ARIA Health. They have all the professionals for you. Their concern is for you, to take care of you in every way they possibly can, make things as comfortable to you as possible, and they're going to be able to do that because they know what they're doing, and they are really, as we said, total professionals at ARIA Health, and they're going to help you every way they can. We talked about the defense a little bit there. What about the offense and Chuck Snorway? We knew Chuck had it in him. We've seen him since he was in 9th grade. We knew that he can break things anytime. He just had himself a huge first half of play.
Sure. You know, it was good to see Charlie, not only get the opportunity, but really step up and run well. And, you know, Frankfurt has, they have some athletes on D, lots of speed. And so for Charlie to do that in that situation and to break free of some people, some long runs, and I feel good for him, and I want to see him continue to do that.
You know, one of the things he did extremely well for you was the fact that when he got through the line, his ability to cut made a big difference in that ball game, because I think you had them fooled to the point where they were going like one direction, and boy, when he cut the other direction, he opened himself up.
Yeah, especially on that one touchdown run down the other end from where you guys were filming.
Right.
That was a great little move at the end of that to avoid the defender. So, yeah, Charlie's getting there. I mean, he, like I said, he came up young for us. You know, he blocked well. He did some good things. And now, the first couple of weeks, he's caught a couple of footballs. He's ran well, and he always blocks well. So, we expect good things from Charlie.
Yeah, Ron Quay had a little tough time with it. He made up for it a little bit later, but he had a chance to get in for a TD there on the 1-yard line, left the ball on the ground. He had another problem with a fumble there, but I saw to it, and we were talking about the fact that you still gave him the ball, and he came through in the end and was able to really spring something.
Right. Well, you know, Ron Quay, he did have a tough go in a couple fumbles, but you know, it's funny. You know, some of our guys, you know, we believe in them. We think they're going to be, you know, even if they have tough halves or whatever, we think, you know, they're going to respond. You know, even like Breon, the quarterback, and he didn't have his best game.
No.
But I think he will. I think, you know, the type of kid he is, the type of talent he has, he will step up especially this next game, and we really need him to.
Yeah, I know, and Breon's got to be thinking, I'm sure, especially that one pass that, you know, he had a man open way downfield. And like Marty Reed mentioned about the fact he thought maybe that he was so wide open that the receiver kind of slowed down a little bit, but Breon just missed him. But boy, I'll tell you, you give an idea of where they're so worried about the run. You had a guy open by 15 yards.
Yeah, I think you're going to see us, you know, in the Easton game, you know, we had one touchdown ball back in the air. Another one set us up. We weren't able to punch it in. And then the third one was right there to be had as well. So we'll start converting on them. We did, I mean, Breon did all last year.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
But we're going to call more pass plays. And, you know, I think you noticed a couple times going in, we tried to, you know, put the ball in the air a little bit. So we're not afraid to do that with Breon, and we'll keep it up.
What do you think now? We talked about, you know, the guys who we heard about because of the fact that they made the big plays. What about your offensive line, the second game of the season? You looked at that. I thought they did a real good job the first game against the Easton Ball Club, and certainly in this one they were really doing a nice job in opening up holes for these guys.
Yeah, they've been pretty solid the first 2 weeks, no doubt. We, if you look at it, we put up 28 points against Easton, which is our highest point turnout since we've been playing them, and we put up 42 against Frankfurt. You know, we've scored in the 30s against Frankfurt before. Usually it's less. Usually we're in the 20s or something like that.
Right.
Or sometimes the teens. But that might be the highest we've scored on Frankfurt as well. So for our first two opponents, you know, we're averaging 35 a game. For us, that's a little different because, as we've talked about many times in the past, it takes a long time for the WT, all the players, you know, working together.
Right.
You know, if one person slips off a block, it can spoil the whole play. 10 guys can be doing the right thing. So for us, you know, we're pleased. We're pleased where we are, and it goes back to the offensive line, to the experience on the O-line,
right,
and to how they're opening. They opened some great gaping holes in the game against Frankfurt, and so they're doing a nice job.
And we'll let you know that Aria Health is the one that's bringing you this program. Of course, we're bringing to you throughout the course of the season as we talk to Galen Snyder about the teams that he played prior to this week, and of course the ones coming up as well. And
The ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute is redefining care in Center City and South Jersey. And our 50,000 square foot location on ARIA Health's Bucks campus in Langhorne features private rooms, free parking, and nearby hotels. With over a century of experience, the world-class 3Bs, Doctors Booth, Bartolozzi, Balderston, and their partners personally guide you from treatment through recovery. For all your orthopedic needs, call 1-888-ORTHO-3B or visit aria3bortho.org. At the ARIA 3B Orthopedic Institute, you come first.
we have that coming up for you, of course, and that's going to be a big one here in just a matter of minutes, and that is the Downingtown East Ball Club they're going to be taking on, and this should be a good game. Of course, you know Downingtown East has been a tough customer, one of the top teams in the state in the past few years. One of the things Downingtown has had to help them along the way, and they've had it now for a number of years, is they've had that good quarterback who can throw the football, who can open things up for him, who can run, and they've had some outstanding quarterbacks. Devlin was the one that maybe started it for them and then got him rolling, and of course they've had good quarterbacks since. They don't quite have that this year. They're relying more on the running game this time around. When you look at that, Galen, and you think about that, how do you work it against them this year compared to maybe recent years when they really had the quarterback that could threaten you on every play?
Well, the only two times we've played them were in 2005 and 2012, and those just happened to be their two probably best teams that they had. So they had their best quarterbacks. You had Devlin
and Loletta,
and Loletta, who are both Division I quarterbacks. You know, this guy's a nice quarterback. He's not a D1 type of kid, but he's a solid kid. You know, he's a tough kid, left-hander. You know, he'll get the ball there, but they don't play this, you know, the wide open offense that they did under those other two guys, where they were, you know, they wanted to put the ball in the air a lot. You know, they'll still play action pass, they'll still put the ball out there, but it's just not the same frequency that they did back then. But they have some size. They have two big tight ends, like I said earlier. They have a tailback that's going to Delaware. He's about 6'3", 215. So they'll try to run the ball at you.
Yeah, Riley Angeline is a guy you're going to have to be concerned with a little bit in this ball game, because he's the one, really, when you come down to their offense this year, they kind of rely on him more than any other.
Yeah, now they work more than one guy in the backfield. You know,
yeah.
But, you know, if I'm them, you know, they're probably going to try to see if they can run the ball at us.
Yeah, well, I was looking at, took note here of Alec Coyle Nicholas, who had a block punt, a reception as well. He did the job. He got it in the end zone against Roman Catholic, and he seems to be one of their mainstays as far as that goes on defense. He's 6'5", 248, and a tight end for this ball club.
Yeah, he's the one tight end when they go double tight. And the other tight end is 82, right there.
That's Reichwein, yeah.
And he's 6'5", 252. So you're talking about two guys 6'5", 250 line up with the tight ends, and you know, so you can get an idea what they're trying to do there.
Well, you're looking at that, and you're seeing what you have in the secondary. They're going to look at that too. What are you telling your people in the secondary that to go against two big guys? Usually, a lot of times a team might have one, but to have two, that's another situation.
Well, they also have a split end who is 6'8". They throw the ball to. So they got two tight ends 6'5", and a tight end who's 6'8". You know, or I split in the 6'8", so yeah, they're trying to put the ball up, and you know, we don't have anybody as tall as those guys.
Yeah, you're looking for really put the ball up and play catch more or less. Right,
and you know, they're going to run the ball and then play action pass and try to get big tall guys down the field and throw them over the top.
From what you've seen of Downingtown East, tell us about what you think they have defensively and where maybe you feel that you can have your most success.
I think they're pretty tough defensively up front. I think they're pretty good against the run. You know, so I like the matchup. I think it's a tough matchup. We're good running the ball, and they're pretty good against the run. You know, are they as good as Easton against the run? It's hard to say, but I think they're pretty stout. And but I do think, you know, we can have some success. We're going to have to run the ball, and I also think there's an opportunity to, you know, run behind them, and play action pass.
Right.
I need where they're. You know, obviously they have a height advantage that they'll try to use for that.
Exactly.
I think ours is our speed advantage. I think Snorway and guys like Ciotti and such,
Yeah.
I think they can get behind. I think, Breon delivers the ball, we'll do some damage there.
Well, compared to the teams, as we said, it's early in the season, but compared to their teams that they had before, it seems like right now it's a little more low scoring for them. And not only that, they've been in a couple of close games already.
Yeah, they're not as explosive. Again, the two times we faced them, we faced their two best teams. Those were the best. Devlin's team was their best. And then last year was probably their best regular season, but then they got upset early in the playoffs. But as far as, they're not those teams.
Right.
They're good.
Exactly.
They're solid.
Yeah.
They're good. And obviously they're 2-0, and they've beaten two pretty good teams.
Yeah.
So they're a good squad, but they're not quite
What they were then. But of course, when it comes down to it's early in the season, as you know, your team does that all the time. You seem to get better, and that's what we hope is going to happen this year as the season rolls along. You certainly did from the first game to the second game, and this will be interesting because now you're looking at this third game where you get 3 solid games under your belt against good opposition, and then you go into the league. And this is what you've been doing for the past few years with the teams you've been taking on here in the non-league part of the season, which really strengthened you and got you better for the league.
Yeah, I believe it has. I believe that, do the same thing this year, particularly as we start to get some guys back from injury and whatnot. So I think, it's a big game. It definitely is a big game. Good opponent coming in. They're 2-0, we're 1-1. So should be a very competitive game, and a game that we definitely have.
All right, we're looking for a good one here coming up just in a couple of minutes here, Galen. Good luck to you this week.
I appreciate it, Vince.
For the Galen Snyder Show, I'm Vince Reed, brought to you by ARIA Health. Of course, your friends right here in Lower Bucks County. And we want to thank our engineer as well, Mike Samsel, as we'll be back again next week. But right now, let's get ready for this game, a big one on tap, with Downingtown East coming to Pennsbury to take on the Falcons.